Thanks to Gooseworks and everything she shared on her Tumblr and Twitter, we actually know quite a lot about episode 5 even now, when we're only 2 weeks after the release of episode 4. So in this video I want to go over everything we know and things we can suspect from the teasers. First, I want to talk about the release date, because there has been a confusion whether the January 1st date could be real, even though it would have been extremely close to episode 4's release, but Gooseworks confirmed that they didn't even start animating episode 5, so we'll have to wait a bit more for it to release. And based on the list Gooseworks shared a while ago, where she described the episodes with one word, we can see that for episode 5 she wrote haha. During a Q&A on Tumblr a few days ago, she also said episode 5 is probably the lightest of all the episodes. One could say that it's the silly before the storm. And to be honest, even though the next episode might be silly in terms of the setting or what the characters have to do on the adventure, I still don't think there won't be any deeper stuff in it. Just think back to episode 4. The premise of that episode also sounded lighthearted, where the characters were working minimum wage in a fast food restaurant. Plus, Gooseworks mentioned that episode 4 was going to be the most boring of all the episodes, but we still got a heartbreaking story where all the characters had to face their issues. So I'm guessing we'll see something similar in episode 5, which will take place in a Coliseum. We could see that in the trailer video back in February, although back then the Coliseum was only a sketch, but hopefully they've made some progress since then. And a Coliseum as a location is actually pretty exciting, because it suggests we're in for a sports-focused episode, possibly softball-themed. And also it seemed like episode 4 was foreshadowing this, not just with the softball, but also in terms of Jax and Ragatha's relationship. A while ago, Gooseworks shared a list where she shared which character is gonna be in focus for each episode, and for episode 5 she wrote Ragatha. However, just a few days before, she got a question on Tumblr where someone asked, since in episode 5 the main spotlight is on Ragatha, what exactly will she be developing about her character? And to which Gooseworks said, I said episode 5 is the Ragatha episode, and that's still mostly true, but I think it's probably a bit more accurate to say that Ragatha and Jax kind of share episodes 5 and 6 equally. And this is really interesting, especially considering how we saw these two characters in episode 4, so I'm excited to see how they will interact in future episodes. Maybe it's possible that when Ragatha said,
I hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
It will have greater significance. Gooseworks did say that all the characters dislike Jax, but maybe we could hear directly from Ragatha why she hates him, or what he had done to her in the past, even before Pomni joined, because I'm guessing the circus members were putting up with Jax's for a while. And we could see in previous episodes that Ragatha had a hard time dealing with Jax, where they were constantly arguing or disagreeing with each other, and their dynamic is pretty interesting. We know that Gooseworks' favorite movie is the 1977 film Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure, and she implied multiple times that Ragatha is based on Anne while Jax is based on Andy. And in the film, Anne and Andy share a close but often bickering relationship, which mirrors the dynamic between Ragatha and Jax. So maybe it's possible that Jax and Ragatha could have been siblings when they were human, which might explain why they're always bickering. But maybe bickering isn't the right word here, because Gooseworks shared something interesting about Ragatha when someone asked, will Ragatha be okay after episode 5? And she responded, and I have a feeling that Jax might be responsible for Ragatha not being okay at the end of episode 5. Because based on how he acted in episode 4, I think Jax's behavior could cause Ragatha to lose it. And I'm not saying he'll be evil, because he had the chance in episode 4 too, but instead we saw that he was just extremely passive. He didn't care about participating or even trying to bully the others. Just imagine how Ragatha would react in a situation like this, where she's in a leadership role, responsible for motivating the other circus members, but all she finds with Jax are walls that she can't break, and that could frustrate her to the point where she snaps. And honestly, I can see a situation like this causing Ragatha a lot of trouble. We know how much she cares about what others think of her, but no matter how nice she is with Jax, it just doesn't work with him. So maybe Ragatha will lose her cool and snap, and that's what Gooseworks meant. And it would make sense because Gooseworks also answered the question, is there anything awful Jax wouldn't do? And she said, yeah, there are a few lines he won't cross. So based on this, I don't think Jax would hurt someone on purpose, but his behavior might push Ragatha to the point where she just loses it. And this would also relate to the out-of-context line Gooseworks shared from Ragatha in episode 5, where she'll say, not anymore. And I imagine this dialogue could happen if someone points out that Ragatha is acting differently, not her her usual kind self. Maybe a character would tell her that she used to be nice and put everyone else above herself, to which she could reply, not anymore. I really hope this is the case, cause I'm starving for some good Ragatha content, where we can see how she truly is beneath the facade. I'd love to see her show some real emotions instead of hiding everything under the positive umbrella. And Gooseworks also had an interesting reply to a tweet where she said, people getting attached to this evil version of Ragatha is gonna make episode 5 so much funnier. So based on this, I'm thinking that we'll definitely see some out of character moments from Ragatha that we're not expecting, and this could either cause Jax to be confused, or maybe Jax's behavior will be what leads Ragatha to act differently than usual. We can't be sure at this point, but I'm really excited to see the quote-unquote evil Ragatha. And maybe it's also possible that we will see Ragatha and Gangle's dynamic unfold a bit more, cause Gangle had something interesting to say about Ragatha in episode 4 when she said,
I love her, but after a while it gets kinda hard to tell how genuine she's actually being.
And in episode 2, Jax also blackmailed Gangle by telling her that he'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing, which is also interesting, and we never got to know what he meant. So maybe it's possible that Gangle could confront Ragatha about what she told her.
No offense, but you're kind of annoying when you have your happy mask.
Or another possibility is that Ragatha will go off on Pomni. Just think about it. Ragatha has been there for Pomni ever since she spawned in. She tried to guide her and she always looked out for her, and even forgave her when she left her behind after Kaufmo's attack. And not only forgave her, but she went up to Pomni's room first thing in the next morning and made sure that Pomni was doing okay after her first day. And while it tells a lot about Ragatha's personality, she's clearly a nice and caring person overall, but these are heavy things, and I'm sure that she was hurt by how Pomni treated her in some scenes, yet she never said a word. And this means she bottled up all her emotions, which could possibly come out in episode 5, similar to how we saw Ragatha in episode 4 after the stupid sauce got in her eye. And this is also interesting, because at the end of Ragatha's shift in Spudsies, we saw that she took some stupid sauce back with her into the circus. So maybe this plotline will continue, and it's possible that Ragatha could have gotten addicted to the sauce, which might lead her to finally be honest in the next episode. And maybe this leads to the last quote Gooseworks shared from episode 5, which is gonna be spoken by Pomni, where she'll say, I am just being here. And this line makes me think about how Pomni is in the circus, where she tries her best to stay sane, but possibly she still finds it hard to truly care about the others or the adventures. And so if Ragatha is gonna confront her about her past actions, maybe Pomni will respond with this line, emphasizing that she doesn't take things too seriously in the digital world. And this was already introduced in episode 4 when she said to Gangle,
Can't the job wait a bit? It's not like this is real.
So I'm thinking that Pomni learned that she has to take things a little less seriously, but still be there for the others as much as she can. So maybe after this, she'll listen to what Ragatha has to say to her, and maybe they'll be able to talk about all the unsaid things that could have caused tension between them. But so far, these are all the things we know about episode 5, and honestly, I'm really excited to find out more of what's to come, and especially now that we know that the next episode will focus on both Jax and Ragatha, I think it's gonna surpass all our expectations. But let me know what you think about these teasers and what you're expecting from episode 5 down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.